Welcome to our channel Sankalp Study Success. Today in this video we are going to learn about simplification of context-free grammar, that is the unit 4, which is nothing but reducing the context-free grammar. Here we all know that we generally use context-free grammar for context-free languages, correct? So here context-free grammar, in order to reduce that, we are having 3 different types. That means you can reduce in 3 different types, because here if context-free grammar is very lengthy for any context-free language, then it is very difficult. So in order to reduce this context-free grammar, we are going to have 3 different methods or 3 different types, you can take it as. So here the first method goes reduce using, or you can also take elimination of, reducing of or elimination of useless symbols. Useless symbols. That means you're going to remove all the useless symbols from the context-free grammar. What do you mean by useless symbols and how do you reduce it? Let us see. Now, and the second one goes elimination of or reducing of, you can take anything, elimination of epsilon transitions. That means they are null transitions, right? So if you remove the null transitions or if you keep the null transitions also, there is no much difference. If you keep the null transition, just it becomes lengthy. So in order to reduce the context-free grammar, we are going to eliminate null transitions. And coming to the next one, it is elimination of unit productions. That means what? What is the unit production and how do you reduce it? Now let us learn all these 3 types in this video. First, let us go with the elimination of useless symbols. Let us see what is the useless symbol and how do we eliminate them in order to reduce context-free grammar. So, elimination of useless symbols. So here, in order to eliminate the useless symbol, first let us see what is a useless symbol. Here, useless symbol is nothing but it is a symbol where you cannot reach from the start symbol, or the second one is it is not leading to a terminal. Terminal are nothing but the small letters. Terminals are, if you see about terminals, they are nothing but small a, small b and so on like this. So non-terminals are nothing but capital letters, right? Non-terminals are capital letters A, B and so on. Because what is the difference between terminals and non-terminals is, in the non-terminals, if you take, then you need to substitute in the place of non-terminals, right? Here, this terminals will end the substitution. That means in the place of small a, you are not going to substitute another thing. But if you have a capital A, then you are going to substitute the A production in the place of capital A. So that's the difference. So if any symbol is not leading to a terminal, then that is a useless symbol, the first one. And the second one is any non-terminal. If it is not reachable from the start symbol, then it is also a useless symbol. So once let us see what is that actually. S tends to AB. If there is a production, S tends to AB, or you can take it as if it is a grammar, S tends to AB. Here, A tends to small a. See, I have this grammar. Now, if you see, there is a non-terminal B here, where this let us take AB or A, okay? So, if you take this non-terminal B, in the place of B, you need to substitute something. That means you need to substitute a B production. But there is no B production given in this grammar, correct? So, you are not going to substitute anything over there. Ante, ఏదైనా ఒక సింబల్ మనం సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేయలేకపోతే, అంటే ఏదైనా ఒక నాన్ టర్మినల్కి సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేయలేకపోతే, ఆ నాన్ టర్మినల్ is nothing but it is a useless symbol. So we are going to eliminate this useless symbol capital B. In order to eliminate this capital B, we are not going to just eliminate B and let us keep it A as it is. It is not correct, right? Because AB is together is a production. That means this AB you cannot take. We need to eliminate. Then we are going to get S tends to only capital A, then capital A tends to small a. That means, see, from the start symbol there is A. For A again there is a production, correct? So this is the simplified context-free grammar. That means you have eliminated the useless symbols from the given context-free grammar then the resultant context-free grammar is S tends to A and A tends to small a. This is one of the example for elimination of useless symbols. So, useless symbols ni eliminate cheyali ante manaki start symbol nunchi reachable ayi undali. Reachable avvakapote manam aa symbols ni eliminate chesestam. So, this is nothing but the useless symbols. Now, let us solve some questions regarding elimination of useless symbols. Now, coming to the first question. Here, consider the grammar and eliminate useless symbols. That's the question. Just you need to take the grammar and then eliminate if any useless symbols are there from the context-free grammar. So, now, let us write the given data. The given data is small s tends to AB or A, and also capital A tends to small a. Correct? This is the context-free grammar which is given in the question. So, if you observe carefully, for B there is no production in order to substitute in S. Correct? So, there is no path. Let us write it here. Therefore, there is no path. For what? There is no path to B, right? There is no path to B from start symbol. From the start symbol there is B, but there is no path to B in order to continue the procedure. So, from start symbol. So, therefore, what will be happening if there is no path from the start symbol? Then B is eliminated. Here B is eliminated. So therefore, you are going to get S tends to just small a. Correct? Now, you are also having a capital A tends to small a. If you carefully observe, this capital A is not reachable from the start symbol. Correct? That means there is nothing. No need of capital A tends to small a. Correct? ఎందుకంటే మనకి capital A అనేది స్టార్ట్ సింబల్లో అసలు capital A అనేది లేదు. అంటే నువ్వు ఏదైనా ఒక గ్రామర్ తీసుకుంటే స్టార్ట్ సింబల్ నుంచే మనం దాన్ని డిరైవ్ చేస్తాం. సో స్టార్ట్ సింబల్ దగ్గర ఏ అనే సబ్స్టిట్యూషనే లేనప్పుడు ఏ టెండ్స్ టు స్మాల్ ఏ అనేది మనకు అవసరం లేదు. దట్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అ యూస్లెస్ సింబల్. క్యాపిటల్ ఏ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో అ యూస్లెస్ సింబల్. సో హియర్ దేర్ ఫోర్ what can we write it here? There is no path for capital A, correct, to reach from the start symbol. So therefore you can eliminate capital A also. Eliminate capital A. So therefore, final context-free grammar you are left is S tends to small a. This is the context-free grammar after eliminating all the useless symbols from the given context-free grammar. That means your context-free grammar is reduced into small s tends to small a. So this is the procedure where we are going to take it for elimination of useless symbols. Now let us see one more question here. Consider the grammar and eliminate useless symbols from it. Here, if you carefully observe, let us write the given data. This is the most important section because given data also considers marks for it. So AS or A or C, and also capital A tends to small a. A, C and B. So this is our context-free grammar which is given in the question. Now let us see what are the useless symbols in this context-free grammar. First of all, from the start symbol there is no B here. Correct? That means B is not reachable from start symbol. First point to be noted is B is not reachable from start symbol S. B is not reachable from S. So we need to eliminate B. So we are left with what? S tends to AS or capital A or capital C, comma, A tends to A and C tends to A, C and B. Now if you observe, what are the useless symbols to be eliminated? So if you see here, you are having S tends to AS. Okay, that's fine. S tends to A. S tends to A is also fine. And S tends to C. C, here you are going to apply C, but it is not reaching to a terminal. Correct? If you see here, C tends to A, C and B. Always you are going to substitute in the place of C again ACB. That means it becomes like this. Again in the place of C, you are going to substitute ACB. Correct? That means this process goes on. There is no end for this process in the case of capital C. So we are not going to reach the terminals at the end. So that means it is a useless symbol, right? There were 2 points for the useless symbol. First one is it should be reachable from the start symbol, and also it should end with a terminal. So that means here C should be eliminated. So if you eliminate this C, then from here also C should be eliminated. So therefore we are left with S tends to AS or A, and also A tends to small a. Now if you carefully observe S tends to AS, if you take S tends to AS, for example, if you take S tends to A, then you are going to substitute with small a, then it will be ended up with a terminal, correct? So there is no problem with S tends to capital A. If you go with S tends to small as, then this S is also a non-terminal where you are going to substitute either with AA. If you substitute in the place of S capital A, you can substitute AS or A, correct? So if you substitute capital A, then it will be ended with a terminal. There is no problem. But in case if you substitute AS with again AS, again if you are going to substitute AS with again AS, AS with again AS, so this is nothing but we are not going to reach to the terminal at the end. So that means AS is also, it is not correct, right? Because AS is also a useless symbol. So S tends to capital A and A tends to A will be our final grammar, which is after reducing the given context free grammar. So in this way, we need to eliminate the useless symbols. That means there are 2 points to be noted, 2 important points. The first one is it should be reachable. It should be reachable from start symbol. That means from S, if you take it as it should be reachable from S, and end with a terminal, or a terminate end, or terminate with a terminal symbol only. Then only our elimination of useless symbol will be correct. So this is the procedure in order to reduce the context free grammar. That means this is the first procedure only. Now we are going to see the second procedure in order to reduce the context free grammar. What is the second procedure is? It is elimination of null productions. See here, null productions. In the case of null productions, if you write the null production or if you don't write the null production also, there is no much difference, correct? Because if you write the null production, we are just substituting it with null. That means we are removing it off. So there is no much difference. So now here, how do we eliminate null productions? That means your context free grammar should be in the form of A tends to epsilon. So if it is in the form of A tends to epsilon, then you can eliminate the epsilon productions. This is the standard format. If it is in this format only, we are going to eliminate the null productions. So here, any series of productions leading to epsilon should be eliminated. Okay, that means if you are having some production, మనకి ఏదో ఒక production ఇచ్చారు, S tends to something అని, then మనం అందులో సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఎన్నిసార్లు సబ్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ పాసిబుల్ అవుతాయో అన్నిసార్లు సబ్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ చేసినప్పుడు ఎట్ ద ఎండ్ మనం ఎప్సిలాన్తో మిగిలిపోతే ఆ ప్రొడక్షన్ కూడా నల్ ప్రొడక్షన్ అని కన్సిడర్ చేసుకుంటాం. సో ఎన్నిసార్లు మనం సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేసినా కూడా లాస్ట్కి నల్ ప్రొడక్షన్ రాకపోతే మనం దాన్ని ఎలిమినేట్ చేయము. దాని ప్రొడక్షన్ వస్తే దెన్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ఎలిమినేట్ దాట్ ప్రొడక్షన్ ఆల్సో. సో ఎనీ సిరీస్ ఆఫ్ ప్రొడక్షన్ విచ్ ఇస్ లీడింగ్ టు ఎప్సిలాన్, దెన్ దాట్ షుడ్ బి ఎలిమినేటెడ్. అంటే if your context free grammar is in the format of A tends to epsilon, then that production is called epsilon production. Okay, this is called epsilon production. So how do you eliminate this epsilon productions? That means if it is in this format only we are going to eliminate, that is the first point. If it is in the form of A tends to epsilon, then we are going to eliminate it. Or the second point is, if any production is leading to epsilon. That means any production, if it is leading to epsilon, then that also should be eliminated because it is considered as an epsilon production. So now let us solve one question in order to get what is elimination of epsilon productions. Here, eliminate the epsilon productions from the following context-free grammar G. Here, we also know where G is equals to, it is a 4-tuple notation VTPS. If you see the previous videos, then in the context-free grammar video, we have already discussed about G is equals to VTPS, where it is a 4-tuple notation, where these are known as variables, that is V, and these are known as terminals, which are capital T, and these are productions. This is the start symbol. So VTPS is nothing but a 4-tuple notation which is denoted for context-free grammar. Here, now let us see what are the productions given. Let us write the given data of productions, because we are going to eliminate productions only, no null productions. So we are going to write S tends to AS or AB. Here A tends to epsilon, B tends to epsilon, D tends to small b. These are the context-free grammar which are given to us. Now, let us take each and every production, then we are going to see where we are going to get epsilon or we are not going to get epsilon or not. So first of all, let us write the nullable variables. Vn is nothing but nullable variables. That means what? Here, if you see directly, A tends to epsilon and B tends to epsilon are the null productions, where you can eliminate those null productions very easily. That means what? We are going to eliminate A and B, correct? So these are the nullable variables. అంటే ఏదైనా ఒక వేరియబుల్లో మనం సబ్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఎట్ ద ఎండ్ మనకి ఎప్సిలాన్ వస్తే వాటిని మనం నల్లబుల్ వేరియబుల్స్గా కన్సిడర్ చేస్తాం. అంటే ఇఫ్ A tends to epsilon is a nullable variable because wherever you substitute the value for A, it is epsilon. Wherever you substitute the value for B, it is again epsilon. Again, wherever you are going to substitute this A and B for any other production, if that production is also going to get epsilon only, then that should also be considered as a nullable variable. Now, first of all, at the beginning only, if you see A tends to epsilon and B tends to epsilon are the nullable variables. So let us consider Vn is equals to AB. తర్వాత మనకి ఇంకేమైనా nullable variables వస్తే let us include that also. Now, Vn is equals to A comma B. These are the nullable variables. Now let us consider S tends to AB. S tends to AB. What can we substitute in the place of A or in the place of B? Nothing but epsilon only, because A is also epsilon, B is also epsilon. So you will get S tends to epsilon. So that means what? If you substitute A and B value in the S production, then you are getting S tends to epsilon. Then this is modified as Vn is equals to A, B and S. That means nullable variables are A, B and S. Now, by replacing all the nullable variables, let us write the context-free grammar which is left out. So that means S tends to AS is a context-free grammar, where if you substitute nullable variables with epsilon, then you are not going to get AB, right? And the remaining one is D tends to small b. Correct? Here, if you also see, if you substitute only epsilon for B, then you will get A. If you substitute only epsilon for A, then you are going to get B, correct? So, and also S is also tending to epsilon. That means if you substitute epsilon in the place of S, then you are going to get small a, correct? So, in this way, these are the productions, and also the remaining production is also AB, right? AB. So these are the productions where you get after replacing the null values of the given variables, right? So now let us see each and everything where S tends to AS or A. Here anyhow A, B and AB are the nullable variables. So let us consider S tends to AS or A. Here in the place of S tends to AS or A, or the remaining one is D tends to B. We are having these left out after removing all the nullable variables. Now, if you see, we have eliminated null productions, but if you carefully observe, D is the useless symbol here because D అనేది S నుంచి reachable అవ్వట్లేదు. So, from S, it is not reachable, correct? So, you need to also remove useless symbols. Here, useless symbols are D. So, therefore, S tends to AS or A is the context-free grammar after eliminating null productions and useless symbols. So, this is nothing but context-free grammar, elimination of null productions from the context-free grammar. First, మనకి ఇచ్చిన productions మనం రాసుకుంటాం. Then, we are going to take the nullable variables where it should be tending to epsilon, or else if you are going to substitute nullable variables in some other productions, if that production is also tending to epsilon, then those variables are also considered as nullable variables. Vn is equals to A, B, S, which we got. Then, after removing all the nullable variables from the given data, that means from the given context-free grammar, then we are left out with S tends to AS or A and also D tends to B. That means here D is not reachable from start symbol, so it is a useless symbol. So let us eliminate this D. Then we are going to left out with S tends to AS or A. This is the final context-free grammar. Now let us see one more question where eliminate null productions from. Let us write the given data. S tends to capital A, small a, capital B, or AAB, and also A tends to epsilon, and also B tends to BBA or epsilon. So if you carefully observe, here there is an production A tends to epsilon and there is another production B tends to epsilon also. So our nullable variables will become A comma B. Correct? Now let us substitute this A comma B nullable variables in some other production and check whether they are going to get epsilon or not. So now let us consider S tends to capital A, small a, and capital B. Now if you substitute epsilon in the place of B, then you get S tends to capital A and small a. If you substitute epsilon in the place of capital A, then you are going to get small a and capital B. If you substitute epsilon in both the places, then you are going to get only small a. Or our production as it is capital A, small a, and capital B. So these are the productions which we get for S, correct? And for A, you are not going to get anything. And here we have done with one production. There is another production for small s, that is S tends to AAB. S tends to AAB, which we have. Let us write it again. And if you substitute epsilon in the place of capital B, then you are left out with AA. So these two are the productions which you get after substituting the nullable variables in the S production. Now if you see, A tends to epsilon is itself a null production and A is a nullable variable. Then coming to capital B, let us consider this capital B tends to BBA. Now if you substitute epsilon in the place of A, then you are going to left out with BB or our actual production BBA. Now finally, after removing all the null productions, finally let us continue here. Finally, what we are left out with is here S tends to capital A and A. This is the production after removing. This will be another production after removing. Capital A, small a is one production, and small a is another production. Sorry, let me continue it here. small a is another production, and if you see here small aa is another production, and then if you see small aab will also be another production for small s, correct? Then for this bb will be the production. Capital B tends to small b because this a is a nullable variable, right? So these are the final productions after removing all the null productions. So in this way we are going to eliminate all the null productions from the context free grammar. Now what happens is, this is a procedure for the second step, right? This is the second type in order to reduce the context free grammar. Now let us see the third type in order to reduce the context free grammar, which is nothing but elimination of unit productions. This is nothing but the elimination of unit productions. This is the third type in order to reduce the context free grammar, where we have already seen the first one is the elimination of useless symbols and the second one is elimination of null productions. Coming to the third one, which is elimination of unit productions, where your production should be in the form of capital A tends to capital B. This is the first production. This is the production. It should be in the form of capital A tends to capital B. Then only we are going to eliminate that unit production. Where here, let us see how to do it. Any production which is of the form capital A tends to capital B, and this A comma B should belong to your variable only. Okay, this A comma B should be belong to variable, then that is known as a unit production. That means what? In the RHS side, you should have only one non-terminal. If you have only one non-terminal, then that is known as a unit production. This is the process where we are going to eliminate all the unit productions. That means if you eliminate these unit productions, then you can reduce your context free grammar. Now let us solve a question related to elimination of unit productions. Here the first question is, eliminate the unit productions from the following grammar, where let us write the given data, which is most important and is the first step in order to solve a problem, where S tends to capital A, small bb, capital A tends to B or B, and B tends to S or A. So here, first of all, there are no null productions given in the context free grammar. If you have any null productions, then you need to eliminate those null productions also. So here there are no null productions in the context free grammar. And if you see, let us write what are the unit productions which we have. In the unit productions, S tends to capital A is one unit production. This small bb is not a unit production because at the RHS side you are not going to have any one non-terminal. So only it should be in the form of A tends to capital B. Then only we are going to take it as a unit production. So S tends to capital A is a unit production. Then A tends to capital B is one more unit production which you have, and small b is not a non-terminal, so we are not going to take it. Capital B tends to S is another unit production, where this A we are not going to consider this A because it is not a non-terminal. So these are the unit productions which we have. And also if you take S tends to capital A, let us consider S tends to capital A. In the place of capital A, if you substitute small b, then you will get S tends to small b, right? Then in the place of this capital A, if you substitute this b, right, and in the place of this b if you substitute small a, then we are going to get S tends to A, correct? Here you are going to get S tends to A. If in case, this is the first step. Now if you take capital A tends to B, we have considered this first one. Now let us consider capital A tends to capital B. What this B, if you substitute B with small a, then you are going to get capital A tends to small a, right? And if this capital A tends to B, if you substitute, once you have substituted small a, that is fine. Now we are going to substitute S. Okay, in the place of S. Then in the place of S, you are going to substitute this BB. Then you are going to get A tends to BB at the end, right? So that means what? We are deriving each and every production. Again, if in the place of S, if you substitute A, then you are going to reach to A tends to capital A only. So that means it is the starting symbol, right? So there is no need of again substituting there. Now let us consider capital B tends to S. In the place of S, if you substitute BB, then your capital B tends to BB. Or if in the place of S, you are going to substitute A, B tends to S tends to capital A. Then this capital A, if you substitute small b, then it becomes B tends to small b. Or if you substitute capital B, then again it will be reaching to the starting symbol, which is capital B only. So these are the new productions. So therefore, let us write all the new productions at one place. Therefore, our context-free grammar, that is, it is the reduced context-free grammar where S tends to small a, small b or BB, right? See here, small a, BB is already there and this is the small b. So A, B and BB. Now again, capital A tends to A, B or BB. If you see, capital A tends to A, here it is already B and it is BB. Now, capital B tends to A, B or BB. If you carefully observe here, it is already A, B and BB. So that means this is the reduced context-free grammar. How you have reduced context-free grammar? From unit productions. That means there are no unit productions in this context-free grammar if you observe. Correct? There is no production which is in the form of A tends to capital B. So this is nothing but the reduced context-free grammar. So in this way we are going to use three different types, where first one is elimination of useless symbols, second one is elimination of epsilon productions, and the third one is elimination of unit productions. So in these three methods you can reduce your context-free grammar. Thank you for watching the video.